Welcome back with the third round of Big Thursday Night Modern at Magic Corner Vienna here. Joining me tonight is Michi.
And with me is Walter.
And what we're presenting you right now here is a very interesting matchup. Slight irony maybe involved, maybe not. We got the amazing deck that is Bogles on the left, and on the right we got Burn.
Yes, Burn from Christoph Mert and...
Bogles is played by Thomas Braunsberger. We got here on the Bogles side, we got a list featuring Slippery Bogle, the namesake card of the deck, Gatecover Scouts, Core Spirit Dancer, a range of auras, interestingly not playing some of the newer auras, the Cartouche of Solidarity, I think the white one is called, right? From
Yes.
Amonkhet, that some lists have adopted as a way to fight Liliana's edicts, but again we see a full 4 copies of Path to Exiles, which I'm not an expert in this archetype, but sometimes those lists have tended to not play any paths, or play a few paths and play some on the side. So yeah, what can we say about the Burn players list here?
Well, it's a perfectly smooth Burn list. What can we say about it? The main deck is, pretty basic actually. Nothing special in here, just a solid, good, in-the-face Burn deck.
Yeah, we got 10 4-ofs, 20 lands, no nonsense. We got a Boros Burn list, just splashing green for Destructive Reveries in the sideboard. So yeah, what do we think of this matchup here? While we see a 7 rolled by the Burn player, and we see the Bogles player, the Burn player is going to be able to play here game 1.
I think this is a big deal actually, because Bogles has live game main deck, or?
Exactly, the Bogles player has 5 very important cards. 4 Daybreak Coronets, which is a 2 white enchantment. You can only enchant a creature that's already been enchanted. Thanks Future Sight, and it gives the enchanted creature +3/+3 lifelink, Fast Dragon Vigilance, and a copy of Unflinching Courage, which also gives lifelink. If the Bogles player gets one of those cards down, and we don't have a Skullcrag life game prevention effect from the Burn player, it could be game over really quickly. Other than that, the Burn player can put quite significant pressure on the Bogles player, I think.
Well, I think what Christoph doesn't want to see is Searing Blaze in this matchup. Not even one, because there won't be any targets for it, or?
The only target is Core Spirit Dancer, but Core Spirit Dancer most of the time might also already be out of reach, but then at least you get your 3 damage. But yeah, there is going to be a maximum of 4 targets that can actually be targeted, and those might not often get destroyed.
And we're seeing a mulligan here from the Bogles player, which tends to happen quite often.
Yeah, the
compared to
Bogles
other
deck,
decks.
basically, if you're not sure what matchup you're playing, you have 8 Bogles. You need to keep... You want to have one of those. Other than that, you have access to Dryad Arbor and 6 fetches and the 4 Spirit Dancers, which is a backup plan. You can put auras on those creatures, but they're not hexproof. So that's a lot more risky. Might be good in some matchups. You have to keep some of those hands sometimes, but generally you really want to see either one of your 4 copies of Gatecover Scout or one of your 4 copies of the Bogle itself.
I would say enchanting Dryads or other creatures without hexproof is quite risky against the Burn player.
Definitely. Against Burn, this is not what you want to be doing. The Burn deck has access to 4 Lightning Bolts, it has access to 4 Searing Blaze, access to Lightning Helixes, Rift Bolts, quite a few things that just kill those creatures.
So I think Thomas the Bogles player mulligan down to 5 or 6 cards.
I'm pretty sure it was on the second mulligan here. We see a Goblin Guide here attacking on turn 1 of Basic Mountain.
Yeah, best card. Yeah, and the Horizon Canopy. I just want to say one of the best, or the best card, which you can reveal with Goblin Guide, or?
Yeah, in this matchup, Horizon Canopy is not as good, but we see he's playing the Canopy straight away for the Bogle taking a damage. So damage can add up here. But again, if he plays turn 2 Aura, turn 3 Coronet, might still be just game over immediately. But other than that, it adds up.
Well, I think I've seen second Horizon Canopy, so just damage from his lands.
Ouch, yeah.
Okay, so Christoph here, the Burn player, fetches with a Bloodstained Mire.
Probably getting a Sacred Founder here in his 2-color list.
Yes.
Started.
No.
Oh, no, just another Basic Mountain. Probably has access to white mana in his hand or another fetch land here.
Yes.
Interestingly, Burn player, the Burn deck often takes a lot of damage from its own mana base. Here right now, we see the same amount of damage being done to the Burn deck as the Bogles deck has done to itself here. So that can be easily called a win for the Burn player here.
So looking forward to a great turn 2 from the Burn player. We'll see what happens next. Maybe a Swift Spear or another Goblin Guide.
Yeah, Swift Spear or Goblin Guide plus a Burn spell, Eidolon, all of those things are good. Probably not a 2 mana burn spell. Yeah, Swift Spear.
And now straight attack to the face. Reveal.
Ethereal Armor revealed, yeah.
What does
Ethereal Armor is a 1 white aura. It gives the enchanted creature +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. It's the card that actually made the Bogles deck possible. It can easily add 4 or 5 power for 1 mana in this deck, especially multiples. It's rough.
Devastating the second Horizon Canopy while he's already down on 13. Now he's down on 12.
So he has a 5 power creature here, but if he races, if he attacks here, gets him down to 15. And he can't do this here because there's 2 creatures on the board and he might just die, so he leaves it back on D, probably hoping to draw one of those aforementioned lifelink auras, which does not appear to be in his hand already.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be that good right now because I think I saw a Skullcrack in the hand of the burn player.
Yeah, this is the thing with the burn deck, often can play 1 Skullcrack and get through 1 attack with those lifelink auras. The second one, if the Bogles player is not dead yet, often proves good enough. But he might not have the opportunity to actually attack with the lifelink creature second round.
And just Windsweep Teeth from the Bogles player.
Yeah, I mean, that's at least a painless source of mana. Semi has to take 1.
Several auras in hand, and now he's thinking which he wants to play, or does he want to cycle 1 Horizon Canopy?
Yeah, he has a Core Spirit Dancer here in hand, and he has, I think, 2 copies of Spider Umbra, which gives the enchanted creature +1/+1 a reach, and has Totem Armor, which is not amazing here. So you could play the Spirit Dancer enchanted with the aura straight away, going to 10, attack with the Boggle, because the opposing creatures could not attack. That's maybe the best. You get the Spirit Dancer is a cast trigger. You get to draw the card anyways. It's not an enter the battlefield trigger.
Yes.
You always get to draw it. The Spirit Dancer will die in response, probably, in response to the Spider Umbra, but it's still looking rough. I think the burn player just has to figure out how to survive this turn, peel an aura off the top. So this is why I would actually like cracking the Horizon
You mean the
Canopy,
Bogles player has to survive this turn?
Sorry, exactly. Bogles player has to survive this turn, peel a lifelink aura off the top. But we just see a Spider Umbra getting cast on the slippery Boggle here.
And a Rancor.
And oh, it was not a second, sorry, those look kind of similar. It was another green 1 mana aura, which is a lot better here for him. Because now he has, he's doing the maths. I can do it quicker than him. Haha, he has a 12 power trample creature, 2 ethereal armors giving +4/+4 each. Puts it up to 9 power, Rancor to 11, Spider Umbra to 12. 12 trample is a 2-turn clock, but the thing is, it is very likely if attacks here that he is just going to be dead because he's on 10 already.
And the
Vampire has 3 damage 3 damage on the board here with 2 spells cast. That's 5, and the 2 spells would already be 10. So we don't see an attack here.
Yes. So crack the Fetchland end of turn. Maybe now searching for a Sacred Foundry. We'll see.
If he cracks it end of turn, unless he wants to use it and he doesn't have any white spells, but should get it at some point.
Yes.
His life total is not as important here.
Maybe he has Lightning Bolt or so in hand, so he wants to play it end of turn.
Yeah, he's definitely going to play some burn spells here end of turn. He's getting the Sacred Foundry untapped. That would indicate that he has either one of his 4 copies of Boros Gem, one of his 4 copies of Lightning Helix in hand here, which would just go to Thomas's face.
Yes.
Cast the face is where your spells want you to go.
And we see Lightning Helix to the face, triggering the Master Swift Sphere, which does nothing.
Exactly, but the thing is why he couldn't do anything on this turn because his creature would have been eaten up, but also he was sitting on this Skullcrack as we were mentioning before.
Yes, and I think the draw this turn was either Scalding Tarn or Lava Spike, I'm not quite sure.
So he's on 7, so we need 3 burn spells or 2 burn spells, but it also can just be an attack.
Opponent going down to 4.
And now if we see an attack with both creatures, then 1 gets blocked, he takes 2, and there is this Skullcrack we mentioned before, which would be lethal here.
Yes.
There might be a path to Excel in the Bogles player's hand though, so this is something you have to play around here. But the thing is, he's on 4 life already.
It's still lethal.
Yeah, exactly, because he has to go down to 3 to fetch, so the Skullcrack would be lethal, exactly. You're completely right here, Michi.
So basically the burn player just has to attack and play the Skullcrack, and
he can't lose if he does that, yes.
No.
I don't think he can lose if it doesn't do this either, but it's kind of hard to lose from this position. But it's good for the burn player to figure it out here.
Goblin Trigger, Opponent removes the top card.
That is a Spirit Mantle, which is a one-off, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a one-off in the Bogles player's list. It's an aura that gives enchanted creature +1/+1 and protection from creatures.
Ah,
It's a nice sweet one-off, but not
sadly
relevant.
no life gain. 2 damage.
And
Thomas goes down to 2, and the game is over.
yeah, what we explained here happened. Scarcare got cast, and now we're on to sideboarding already here. This double Horizon Canopy just proved to be quite a pain in the behind for the Bogles player here, exactly for Thomas. Yeah, and so on this vampire side, what have we got in terms of sideboarding options here, Michi?
Well, 3 Rest in Peace to handle the graveyard, which won't be of any use in this matchup. 3 Destructive Revelry,
That's
which is
kind of good.
Kind of good. 1
really
Wear
good.
There, which is also amazing. 3 Core Firewalker, not that good in this matchup. 2 Path to Exile, neither, but Deflecting Palm 2 might be possible to be ported in.
Deflecting Palm doesn't target, does it?
No, I don't think it targets.
No, it definitely doesn't target because you can Deflecting Palm
Yes.
the big Emrakul as well, which sometimes happens.
And 1 Searing Blood.
For a 5th Searing effect here. But we were already, Michi, you said before the Searing effect. So the
Nope.
worst cards in his deck, so they will be coming out.
Most
So
likely,
If
yes.
we say that he has to board out his 4 Searing Blazes, we just have a clean swap for the Reveries in the Waiter?
Yes, we would have to. But I think boarding Deflecting Palm is also straightforward one of the best things he can do, because when he's getting attacked by a 12-12 or 20-20 Boggle, Reflecting Palm just will seal the deal.
Yeah, definitely. And it's hard for the Bogles player to play around Deflecting Palm. Here on the Bogles players, on Thomas's side, we've got 4 Alien of Sanctity, 4 Seal of Primordiums, a Grafdigger's Cage, a Relic of Progenitus, 2 copies of Stony Silence, 1 single Gadoctique, and 2 Suppression Fields, which for those not familiar with this card is a 1 colorless 1 white enchantment that makes activated abilities of any card cost 2 more. And this is especially good against fetchlands. But I think the strong option here is obviously the Leyland of Sanctity, which gives the player Hexproof, free to cast if it's in your opening hand, and there's not really any other cards I like here in this matchup. But those 4 Leyland of Sanctities, I think, in addition to the Daybreak Coronets and the Unflinching Courage, gives him quite a wide range of cards that can be pretty game winning. The interesting question is, what do you take out here? Because the Bogles deck is kind of redundant in what it's doing.
Oh, this is actually quite difficult to say.
Because basically all the cards... Do you want Path to Exile in this matchup? Yes or no? I'm not sure about this one.
I'm also not sure about it, but it can keep you some lives in the early game, maybe, if you can't deploy a big Boggle right now. Maybe Griff Spoon, I'm not sure, because he already has 4 Raincore. Maybe that's enough to get through with it.
And Grispoon does the least amount of damage, and
Yes.
evasion doesn't matter that much. I would be more tempted to not have the paths on the play, or not all of them, and have more paths on the draw when you're behind.
Yes.
When it's more dangerous to take a lot of damage from a stray Goblin Guide that starts attacking on turn 1. But let's see if we can figure out what he took out. But those Leyland of Sanctities are definitely keepers in this matchup here.
I would say so too, Walter.
And basically, what is in game 2 here? What's the Bogles player? Look, the Bogles player is just looking for slamming the Coronet. What is the Burn player looking for here?
Having a Skullcrack on time, having Destructive Revelry to deal with his enchantments, and for a big body, having the Deflecting Palm to just kill Thomas on the spot.
So basically looking for his sideboard cards mostly here in this matchup.
Yes, kind of. The Burn player can also just smoothly win the game without the sideboard cards if the Bogles player doesn't have one of his Bogles, has to mulligan too often, or just isn't as fast. But the sideboard cards, I think, are extremely important in this matchup.
Do you like mulliganing decent 7 here? Looking for a Leyland on a Mar because the Leyland of Sanctity, the white Leyland, is brutal in this matchup against Burn. Do you think you Mar more easily if you're the Bogles player here? Because you know that hitting a Leyland in your starting hand might just be GG?
It's hard to say because Bogles has issues getting a good hand, And just looking for a Leyland might not be sufficient.
Because if you don't find a Boggle for the first 5 turns,
Yes.
you will just get beaten down by Goblin Guide and your Leyland
Yes.
will not matter, okay.
But maybe on 6 it's okay. I have not a lot of experience with Boggles. I just played against it a few times, so can't really say that.
Yeah, I think with Boggles it's pretty tricky because you're a high variance deck. You do powerful things when it works, but because there are only those. Some players play a copy of Silana Ledgewalker or a few, which is a hexproof creature with some sort of evasion because it can only be blocked by 5 reach creatures for 2 mana. But the 2 mana is so much more than the 1. So
Yes.
Thomas and most Boggles lists don't opt for playing it. And we'll see what his mark. Yeah, I think that's an indication of a keep. He's crying.
Yes, he's crying. Top or bottom. Yeah, it's top and Leyland enters the battlefield. Land drop from the boss player, Temple Garden.
That means he's got a
damage.
Boggle too.
Yes. And here we see it.
Slippery Boggle, the namesake. Little green-blue hybrid card from Lowin Block. Not sure which
Yes.
set it was. It might be Shadowmoor. I'm not completely sure about that.
Not quite sure about it either.
But
Okay,
it's a
so-
very nice swampy creature.
Mountain Goblin Guide attack. Opponent reveals a Plains. Takes 2 damage.
Plains
and
goes to his hand, yeah.
quite good for the Boggles player. Because I think the only cantrip they play is Horizon Canopy.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, you basically depend a lot on your starting hand and your top decks in the Boggles deck. The canopy smoothed it out a bit, but basically if your starting hand sucks, it's hard to get there. But we got a Rancor here and an attack for 3.
Nice one. Brand player goes down to 17.
We see a copy of Gladecover Scout here and another copy of Boggle. So right now, Boggles player is flooded on Boggles, which is this is annoying too because you need the first Boggle, but the second Boggle might be okay. Mostly it's not, but every Boggle beyond that is just kind of not doing anything except for jump blocking.
Yes, and we see Monastery Swiftspear here and attack for 3, revealing.
A Spider Umbra here. And this is also, it's another Spider Umbra. He's got a lot of green cards here. He only
Yes.
got access to 1 green mana source. He can only play 1 spell a turn. But again, we can't forget here that all the burn spells to the Boggles player's face are just turned off by that ley line. So Boggles player is at 13, and if he just gets a Boggle on the board that can block efficiently against these creatures, it's going to be very, very, very hard for the burn player to do anything about that unless he draws a Destructive Reverie or a Wear Tear.
Here we see the Spiderweb bar.
Spider Umbra, yeah, the Spider
Spider
Umbra. So we
sorry.
got a 4/2 Totem Armor Trample Reach here. Reach not doing much, but the Totem Armor is quite nice. But we still see him trying to race rather than trying to keep it back on defense and getting it back if it dies from the Spider Umbra.
Yeah. So both players are on 13 life total. Big turn for the burn player. Hopefully he can deploy another creature and swing for 5 or more. Oh, we see another Swift Spear. Perfect in this situation.
He might get to the point where he starts lava spiking himself soon at some point for getting prowess triggers. We'll
Yes.
see if that might happen, but this is a legitimate concern here because if it might even win the race at some point. It's not efficient
Maybe
with 2 Swift Spears, like he deals 3 damage to himself to deal 2 to the opponent, but there might be situations in the race where that's a legitimate play.
Yes, I think he was thinking about it right now, but he may not be quite sure about it.
If he did it right now, he would go to 10 while he would deal 6 damage to its opponent, putting him to 7.
Yes, but maybe he has another Lantern and a Lightning Helix. Yeah, I think it looks like, yeah. Sacred Fountain, pay 2 life, go down to 11. Okay, what will he see here? Lightning Helix, his own face? Might be possible.
I would like, with the Lightning Helix, would like to wait for next turn because with the additional prowess trigger, you can just Lightning Helix your Swift Spear and not kill it because it goes up to 4 toughness and gain the life. That seems better. Before I Lightning Helix my face, I would probably wait for that, but let's see what he's going to opt for here. But generally speaking, in these situations, you need to be creative with your burn spells. You need to start thinking about burning yourself, burning your own creatures to get those prowess triggers because you might be able to throw it at your opponent's face after removing this later, but if you don't have access to a way to get rid of it right now. Another copy of Spirit Mantle, it was in the first game, copy of Spirit Mantle revealed here, which is quite good because it means that
Boris Jump.
Boris Jump just giving double strike to the Monastery Swift Spear,
Yes.
which is brutal.
8 damage this turn, I guess, or 4 damage from the Swift Spear, 2 from Granada.
exactly.
Yes, 8 damage. Whoa, big turn, opponent down to 5 life. Whoa. Boris player is in danger.
And this Boris jump just did 4 damage here, like right as he would casting it to deal 4 damage to the face because it got 2 prowess triggers and 2 from the double strike. But here we see the Spirit Mantle being cast, which means that the Bogler has now protection from creatures, can't be blocked, but he can't attack because he's on 5, needs to leave it behind. And this is getting risky here as well because if we get 2 spells cast here, it's already lethal. So if the burn player can produce 2 spells here, he can only block 1 of the Swift Spears and takes 5 damage and is dead.
I think there's another Lightning Helix and a Scar Dragon in the burn player's hand.
Ooh, he can't cast both of these
No.
at this point unless he has also another land.
You're right. Maybe it's also a Deflecting Palm, I'm not quite sure.
But we see the burn player thinking, but the thing is, this is a strange game, even though the Leyline got put down on turn 0 and also no answer to Leyline has been drawn by the burn player. It's still the burn player is in the driving seat here. Do you think the Boris player might have played this a bit too aggressively? Or do you think it was the best course of action here?
I'm not quite sure. Maybe he should have stayed back a little bit, but hard decision. Maybe deployed more Boris and shared his auras.
But here we have the Daybreak Coronet on top, so this is at least something to look forward to for Thomas here. If he survives this turn, he can slam the Daybreak Coronet on his creature and have a huge life-linking monstrosity.
Yes, I think the Boris player has to win here, or maybe is it Deflecting Palm in hand?
Or the Skycrab again.
Yes.
But it just might be lethal right now.
Yes. Just 2 instants right now, and
2 instants are lethal.
yes, the Boris player will win the game immediately by putting his opponent's life down to 0, exactly 0.
But he's just letting combat damage resolve, just going down to 2, taking 3.
Yeah.
So we will see what happens here. Ooh! We got the Eidolon because of the Daybreak Coronet being revealed. He knows now he just can't cast it. He can't cast any more spells, and that's the game.
Yeah. Boss player scoops it up. The winner is Christoph Merck with Burn, and I think we're going to see him in the finals.
Yeah, because this was round 4. He is making it to the finals. We see who is going to face there. But this again was quite rough here. This game too is like you have the lane, you still get smashed.
Yeah, quite harsh actually, because Lane of Sanctity, is actually quite a powerhouse against Burn, but he drew enough creatures, could attack early on, and put his opponent down to quite some low life.
We also saw, this is interesting, we saw the Bogles player here, he boarded in a single copy of Seal of Primordium in addition to his Leylands, at least a single copy, he just flashed it for a second.
Ah, okay.
So what Seal of Primordium does is it's an enchantment and it's a naturalize on a stick basically, like one of those seal cycles, and it can kill the Eidolon. Can't really do more than that. Do you think that's worth it?
Well, I'm not quite sure. Maybe he thought of something like Ensnaring Bridge.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It's also a hedge against some crazy card like Ensnaring Bridge of the Vampire sideboard, which have been known to be played by some Vienna burn players. We have seen that before.
But this list doesn't play any. So we're going to look forward to the finals.
Yeah, and see you there. Thanks for watching.
See you there. Ciao.